It's April the 29th and something a little bit different this week because this is actually the beginning of National Gardening Week, and the lovely Liz Zorab at Byther Farm and Erica from Erica's Little Welsh Garden thought it would be a good idea, good fun to try and get a load of us together to make as many inspirational videos as we can to tell people, just to spread the word about how much fun gardening is, why we do it, why we enjoy it, and why you should do it too. So, to be honest, an excuse to just sit down and talk about gardening. Oh my goodness, I could talk till the cows come home, but I'm just going to sum it up in one simple visual, okay? The reason I love gardening, I bet you haven't seen one of these before, it's in here. I'm going to bring it close up and I'm going to show you. I'm standing on my strawberries. Can you see that?
Oh,
in there
25 miles this morning
is a tiny little germinated, I think this is a crown prince seed, and we go from staring, as a gardener, you go from staring at soil for several days, weeks, however long it takes, and once you see that, the feeling of satisfaction is immense. So I'm going to put this back and I'll come back later and tell you a little bit more about how I got into gardening and everything, but I think the best way to demonstrate why I love it is to try and, it'd be nice if the wind stopped, but it's just to show you around. Okay, just as a brief demonstration, many of you will have seen my greenhouse before and be thinking, oh Jane, not again. But this is where the magic happens. This is where, let me try and find some, oh, of course I haven't prepared any. This is where you go from staring at, I don't know, pots of blank soil. That was 17th, so that's almost 2 weeks ago now. Staring, nothing coming. To then going up and seeing tiny little bits of growth like that. And I tell you, you know, you think, well, it could just be cress, it could be anything. Why get excited about that? But that proves that something is happening under the soil. Something you weren't aware of, something you weren't sure would work. It's happening, and then magically one day it appears, and from there, let's see what that is. Well, that's actually Russian tarragon, something I haven't grown before. Oh, there you go again then. Something I haven't grown before. I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know what it's going to be like, but it's growing. Let's see what else I've got. Now look, these went up a couple of days ago when I last came up. Some red striped tomatoes. Red striped tomatoes. We don't get them in the shops. No, and that's another reason to grow your own. The variety of different fruit and vegetables that you can get that you wouldn't get in the shops. You couldn't just go and buy unless you have very posh shops by you, which we don't. They become hardier and hardier. They become proper little plants. I'm just winging it here, you know. I'm just hoping a decent plant comes up and we don't see one that's been ravaged by slugs. Yeah, and then we get to sort of this size. So these are the sunflowers ready to go out. And then now I'm going to swing you. All of these things are coming. You get to something like these aubergines. And you kill all the other plants by knocking them over. Look, now I've got to be honest, we've cheated with these. We've actually gone and bought them. But to grow your own aubergines, I would never have thought of doing that. You're going to think now, Jane, you've killed the plants. I haven't. They'll be fine, I promise. But yeah, the prospect of being able to pick your own aubergine off your own plant in your own garden, fantastic. Welsh onions, is it Welsh onions? I think so, yeah. Never grown them before, not something you get in the supermarket. And so I think what I'm just trying to say here is you can just put things in, and hopefully with a fair wind and bit of luck, you will be treating yourself in a few months' time to some real specialities. And even, let me just move this, it's courgette, even if it's something like our bog standard Gardener's Delight tomato like we've got here. The taste of that as a freshly picked, homegrown tomato, eaten with hours, or yes, even minutes, or even seconds of being picked, will be so much better than something you would buy in a supermarket. Another thing that we've been really, really lucky with, and we inherited this with the allotment, is this glorious vine. I mean, in the UK, to be able to grow your own grapes, I know many people do, but it was never high on my list of priorities. But we actually got a decent harvest last year, and oh my goodness, they were the sweetest grapes I've ever had. Beautiful. Okay, here we go. In through the gate, and here we have the front bit. So we had a huge bonus when we took this on, in that we've got triple greenhouses. Triple greenhouses? A triple greenhouse. 3 greenhouses anyway, which absolutely maximises what we are able to grow. We've got a fantastic shed. Who doesn't like their shed? It's like when you're a kid and you make a den. You know, it's not as formal as being at home and you have to worry about colours and that sort of thing. It's, yeah, you can just do what you want in it and put what you want in it and sit in it when it rains and make cups of tea. It's lovely. Love my shed. Right, okay though. But this is the front bit. Just today we've put this arch in, which is going to have evergreens, and I'm going to swing you that way so you get an idea of the width. There we go. Got a little compost bin there. And then we've got the width going over to that side. Okay. And we've got lots of herbs. Okay. I'm going to walk you through. We've been in the greenhouses, so I'm not going to go in there again, otherwise I'll be all day. Patio area. Feels fun. There must be another word for patio nowadays. Recently constructed, and we have got a little raised bed there that we've put trellis up, so that is going to be somewhere we can sit, relax. I think I'm going to put sweet peas up there and some cucumbers, so it'll be a lovely place to sit, because relaxing is all part of being in your garden. And then up here, hopefully you can see all this, we've got these raised beds we put in, and these are mainly fruit. So we've got strawberries, we've got raspberries, we've got blueberries, can't remember, oh that's our garlic, that's not fruit. And on this side we've got blackberries, tayberries here, and currants supposedly, if the black currant gets a move on. Red currant's looking good. And then yeah, these spare beds at the top again are what we just put things in when we first came, but they'll change. A couple of weeks ago we did asparagus. Again, we're going to be growing our own asparagus. How that is just, I was going to say cool, but I'm too old to say that. It is quite cool though. We're going to have to wait a while, but that is our asparagus bed. Apple trees. There and there. And then we've got the centre path here. Mike's making a fire there. Oh no, he's not making a fire, he was making a fire. He's putting some bean canes up. These are our 4 rotational beds. So this bit here is a russet apple tree that has been chopped mercilessly last year because it was too big, too overgrown, and wasn't really coming to anything. So hopefully this year it'll be okay. We've got, what have we got in there? Onions. It's going to be tomatoes, outdoor tomatoes here, and peppers. Same on this side, we've got shallots, and we're going to have some outdoor cucumbers and tomatoes. This is clearly, as you can see, Mike is demonstrating with his bean poles. That's going to be our beans. We've already got our broad beans in. And this is our roots. Now, you see again, you look at that and you think, well, there's nothing there. Well, there is. Look, we've got our spinach coming up. Don't know if you can see that. We've got spinach, we've got carrots, got all sorts coming up. So yeah, that's those 2 taken care of. That's another little fire that we keep meaning to have. But you can see this central bit Look at this, we can wander around. Now Nigel from Muddy Boots suggested a while ago that we should put lavender around this, and I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, Nigel. I think that'd be a lovely idea. Because it attracts the bees and other wildlife. This is going to be the last one that we do. I can't remember what we're having in here. Oh, this is going to be brassicas. This is all brassicas. So that's why they're not going to be going in for a little bit yet, which is why we can have a fire on there. And hello, Mike.
Would you like to ask anybody what this is?
You see, this is the thing that happens. You try and film a video. What's it taste like, Mike?
I think it's rocket.
It might be. It might be. It looks like a mustard. In fact, I
can't remember.
Well, maybe someone out there will know. We've got plenty of it though, haven't we? Okay, well, you live and learn. That's another thing. We're learning all the time. And this patch of mud here is our potatoes. So yeah, if I show you, we have got, let's see if I can pick this up on the camera. I believe that's a Charlotte potato. Of course, they named them all after my daughter. That's what we've told her. That's what she's happy with. Okay, so again, that's your 4 beds behind you. And then at the top here, we've inherited these banana palms. And this is going to be the squash. Then at the very end, which again is all ongoing, we have got this delightful, if a bit dead, apple tree, which produces a mountain of cooking apples, or it did last year. And this bit we've decided, look how far this path goes. I'm going to turn around in a minute to give you a sense of scale. This is going to be our wilder area. So we've got our rhubarb, we've got some comfrey, we have got, that's where the squash are going to go. Oh yeah. And then we move into a bit where there's a bit of a pond behind there. And we've been delighted by all sorts of different bulbs that have come up over the last month or two. We've had tete-a-tete, we've had tulips, we've had fritillary, and at the moment we've got our gorgeous, gorgeous blue of these bluebells, which I am going to split actually and put down this side of the path. And then on this side, we've got more fruit trees, plums, pears and apples. At the very end, we've got this shed. Again, we've inherited this. It's a bit of a mess. We might build it out a little bit when the time comes, but at the moment we're quite happy. This isn't usually here. We're sort of to and from the tip at the minute. At the moment we're quite happy just using it for storage, because we use the bottom shed anyway, so this one's storage. Right, this is the end of the path that's taken Mike 9 months to build. And if I show you what, I'm going to swing around here. And just hope I can give you some sense of perspective. We have got a drone, but I haven't quite worked it out yet, but I'd love to be able to show you from above what it's like. But yeah. And I don't know if you can hear the birds there, but it's about 6 o'clock at night now on Sunday night. And the peace and quiet is beautiful. And the odd dog. So Mike, what does gardening mean to you?
It means being able to spend more time with my lovely wife in the outdoors. And that's what it means to me.
That'll do. Anyway, hopefully that's given you some sort of idea as to why I love gardening. Just to sum it up, just the fact that you plant a tiny bit of what seems like nothing, leave it alone for a bit, and with a fair wind and a bit of good luck, it'll grow into something that you can either smell, look at, or even eat. It's just incredible how it goes from that tiny speck to something you might be able to eat. Pumpkins I'm thinking of. Tomatoes, slightly different. But yeah, it's almost like magical. And like I've said, you know, when I was in the greenhouse, you don't know what's going on underneath. It could all be rotting. And sometimes you plant a pot of seed and it might not come to anything. Sometimes you can plant stuff directly outside and it'll get nibbled off at the roots, you know, or it'll look healthy one day and you come back and the pigeons have got it, and you know, you don't know. And there's part of that not knowing that keeps it really exciting. If you knew that every single thing that you were going to plant was going to be fantastic, yeah, it'd be okay, but it'd soon get boring. Okay, it's a little bit living on the edge. You never quite know, because much as you can control many things, you know, you can control the soil type, you can control to an extent how much it gets watered, depending on whether it's indoors or outdoors. You cannot control nature. You cannot control the fact that, was it a week ago, when I was here, I was absolutely boiling and had sun cream on. Yesterday, the last couple of days, we've had horrendous winds and storms, and fortunately we've been very, very lucky. Nothing's really got too badly battered, but I know a lot of people, and poor people down in Wales, they've had quite a lot of destruction. So yeah, you just can't control that. And with that, you're working with nature, and how wonderful is that? You know, you're working with something that is so incredible all the time. You're hand in hand, and okay, that's what it means to me. That's what it means to me. I mean, when I was brought up, Mum and Dad always loved their garden. It was very straight lines, you know, with things planted very, very neatly, and not a weed to be seen. Still is today. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I just remember being in the garden, but I don't remember doing much in it. And it was only when I got to sort of my early teens, I think probably I didn't have many friends, and I started planting radish in the greenhouse and picking a few raspberries and that sort of thing. And whether that stuck with me and it's something I'm returning to, I don't know. Whether that instilled a love of gardening in me, I don't know. I was talking to Mike about it before, and I said to him, you know, my dad used to go to the football every other Saturday. That didn't make me want to, you know, it hasn't in any way, shape or form made me want to go to the football. I'd still never been to a football match. I should go. I think it's about time I went. But yeah, so obviously I've filtered that out. I haven't wanted to do that. So as part of it being nostalgia, or just part of, you know, you're being brought up, I don't know, although most people who I talk to have got some form of early memory of, if not being in their own family garden, you know, garden of a neighbour or something like that, you know. So the other thing is, it's just such an innate part of us as humans to grow things. And I mean, we are in a very, very fortunate position in this country, in the UK, that we don't really have to go and buy, grow our own things. We do have to go and buy quite a lot of things, you know, but years gone by, when the tithes were given and all that, you were literally given a plot of land to grow your own food on, and you were reliant on that food for your family surviving. And that went to, right, you think, right up until the 1950s, the 1960s even, gardens were used mainly, not fully, but mainly to grow food. I mean, our allotment neighbours, we've got one does raised beds, which is fantastic. We've got quite a few who do just the traditional rows, no grass at all. It's just rows and rows and rows of beans, potatoes, brassicas, and that's fine as well. It's got to be something that you enjoy and that you're comfortable with, because otherwise you wouldn't do it. I've got friends who get up in the early hours of the morning on a Sunday morning and go canoeing. I can't get my head around that one. And they absolutely love it, but that's part, if you didn't love it, you wouldn't do it. And I think, as with anything, you've got to love it. But saying that, how many other pastimes give you something you can eat at the end of the day? Yeah, I'll shut up now, shall I? But anyway, so to summarise, oh my goodness, Jane, that was a big summary. Get out, enjoy it. Even if you've only got a little pot, grow something. My daughter's down in London. She's got very little outside space. Well, she's got no outside space, but she has gone mad for houseplants, and she's got so many houseplants, and now she's got a tiny part of the shared courtyard. They've sprinkled a packet of rocket seed underneath all the evergreen hedge, and it's coming, and she's thrilled, and it's just getting that satisfaction from seeing the smallest thing grow and taking it right through its journey until you chop it up and eat it at the end. You can't beat it. I will go now. I am sorry. I do waffle. Just a brief introduction to my allotment, and that's why I garden. Thank you again so much to Liz over at Byther Farm and Erica at Erica's Little Welsh Garden for the idea of this collaboration. They are putting together playlists for anyone who submits a video. So do go over to their channels and check out the playlist, because hopefully you'll have people who've got cleverer things than me on, like montages and pretty pictures. I won't talk your head off quite as much. But yeah, it is National Gardening Week. It is something that we should be really, really appreciative of, I think. And yeah, have a look at my Facebook page, have a look at my Instagram channel. There's loads more stuff, you know, and if you've enjoyed this, if you like a bit of a waffle, I'm good at that, have a look at some of the other videos. I try and get one done about once a week, couple of weeks, depending on the weather. But yeah, it'd be nice to see you again. So anyway, thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.